Hello everyone, today is May 2nd. It is day 574 of the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. And of course we still have 59 hostages in Gaza. There might be some debate on that we're going to report soon, but first, I don't know if you guys have seen this on your news or on social media, but we have had wildfires in the Jerusalem area. And it says here, Michdal Boer, sort of a neglect on fire, a fiery neglect. For 30 hours, they were fighting wildfires, and that literally canceled the 77th Independence Day of Israel all over Israel because the winds were too much. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into another thing. Here it says, Netanyahu admits שחרור החטופים, the releasing of the hostages, הוא לא היעד הכי חשוב, is not the most important mission or aim. So let's get into all of that. Here it says, Eretz Ha'esh, the land of fire or the land on fire. So we're going to start with this image that is terrifying because it's literally all of the beautiful greenery of Israel, even Park Canada, which is a wonderful park that we have in Israel. And if you see here, you can just see all of it in flames, just engulfed in flames. All that beautiful green is just gone. And the reason why people are angry about this isn't just because, fires, they can happen, but it was because of the neglect. So let's go over some of the reasons for that. So here it says, כ-20,000 דונם נשרפו כליל. About 20,000 dunams were completely burned. It says that hundreds of thousands of shekels will take to restore it. 1,430 firefighters were involved in making sure that the fire was put out. Park Canada, which is that beautiful park I was telling you guys about, was hurt the most, and it took over 30 hours for them to take control over it. And here's why people say that they have failed. The country has failed to sort of protect the people from these fires. Thankfully, there were no people that were hurt, no houses that were burnt, but that sort of seems to be almost a miracle and a fluke. Let's see how they sort of failed in this one. It says here, hakshalim, the failures. The amount of firefighters we have in Israel is not sufficient enough for the amount of citizens. And so, you're fighting these really big fires with not a lot of manpower. The third thing is that Israel did not activate at least 10 firefighting planes because of internal politics between them. So you could literally, they would say, in the evening, like, we would get up and help the fires, but because of these little fights and bureaucracies, we're not able to. So imagine that being you, knowing that you could do something, and yet the fires are raging on, and because of politics, you can't solve it. So that was a huge shame. The government didn't approve the plan, the international plan, Hakamat Ezol Chaytz. Ezol Chaytz is sort of like a buffer zone, and they didn't do that. And it says here that they didn't do that even though it wouldn't have taken much money to do so. The last thing is that even though they knew the forecast was sort of leading them to understand that this was going to happen, the firefighters did not ask the Air Force to prepare. And so we had a situation where literally on Independence Day, the 77th Independence Day, all of Israel, because of the winds, not just because of the fire, we did not have an Independence Day. A lot of people did have, their usual tradition of, grilling on the barbecue the day after. And actually, Jerusalem, they sort of postponed the celebrations, or at least in partiality, to yesterday evening. So that was what was happening. So 20,000 dunams of green are gone, but at least no one got hurt. And now on to the sentence that Netanyahu said that really upset a lot of people in this country. It says here, Netanyahu admits, החטופים, the hostages, לא היעד הכי חשוב, not the highest, aim or priority. He said the sentence at the Bible quiz. Every year Israel has a Bible quiz, and when he was speaking there, he said that sentence. Now, this comes on the heels of another thing that happened. He was, I think, at some sort of press conference with his wife, Sarah Netanyahu, by his side, talking about the hostages, and he related the number that we have 59, there, 24 still alive, and then his wife said, pachot, which means less. She sort of said it under her breath, but it was enough for the microphone to hear, for him to hear, and for him to sort of stumble with his words to sort of, minimize the damage that could have done. And so you have, the mothers of these hostages, like Matan Tsangauker's mother. She says, Netanyahu has targets or objectives that are more important than returning my sick son that a year and a half is chained. And we know for sure that these hostages are going through the most nightmarish time of their lives. And so to hear, it's a very complex thing. I think that everyone wants the hostages home, but the reality is that we do have a real enemy. And so how do you take out your enemy and also get the hostages home? Can you do both of them? And this is a subject for prayer. I think politics often get in the way of doing what is right. And sometimes what is right is also not the most pleasant thing. And so how do you reconcile both those things? I'm not giving you guys an opinion, but it's just a request for prayer if you're a praying person. And now, of course, we're going to end with some good news. Israel is 77 years young, but thousands of years old. It is every year, Israel does basically a televised ceremony for the 77th, but because of the winds, they weren't able to televise it. And so what they do is the day before, they pre-record that ceremony. So we still had sort of the best of both worlds. Here you can see Emily Damari, the returned hostage, of course, doing her very famous symbol with her hand. During the time that she was taken hostage, her two fingers were blown off, and it sort of naturally created sort of like a victory or like rock and roll sign, which is now used as a symbol for strength. And they did something actually very beautiful. They have daglanim, which is like people that hold flags. So they hold the flag of their unit in the army, and they would walk around. You could see it's from an aerial view, and they would walk around in certain ways to create a Magen David, a Star of David, a heart shape, or whatever. And they actually created the sort of outline of that symbol, which I think is very, very beautiful. Another thing that they did is that every Independence Day, they also grant sort of, honors to those in the army. We sort of reported that before about the soldier that is anonymous, that was on the spectrum, and he was given that honor. And so they did that this time also because they can't show their faces because they need to be anonymous. They recorded it, and then later on they presented it to the world, televised it, but of course with their faces blurred. And this is the reality that we have in Israel, that people do such important jobs that are risky, that their identity needs to be kept, but they know who they are, their parents know who they are, and even though we can't see their faces, we are proud of them. And so wish Israel a very happy 77th birthday. We appreciate all of you guys. Let us know where you are commenting from. And of course, if you want more Israel-related content, go to allisrael.com. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe, share this video, and we will see you guys hopefully with better news in the next one.